I was devastated when I figured out that despite owning my own home, working for myself, driving the car of my dreams, and my daughter being in a top school, I was still considered a failure because I was overweight. I had always been taught that if you put the hard work in, you would get the outcome that you were looking for. And maybe that created a situation in me where I had goals that were so big, but I was able to accomplish them. I'm not going to say that it was easy because it wasn't. I dedicated 10 years after high school to education. That meant that when all my friends were going out, partying, and doing all the fun stuff that young people do, I wasn't living that typical teens through 20s life. And it hit me every once in a while that I wasn't having fun. And I questioned whether all of what I was doing was really worth it. I was banking on the fact that when I started working and started my real life, that this effort would pay itself off. And then I started to work for myself. And guess what? It was worth it. I can buy whatever I want. I can give my daughter the things that I didn't have growing up. She had things that I couldn't even have dreamt of having. And I was proud to give her that. My parents were proud of me. I was proud of myself. And it created the situation financially where I didn't have to rely on anybody but myself. That was super cool. One of the frustrations that I lived was that despite being financially successful, society doesn't seem to care about that for women. What seemed to be of utmost importance was how I looked, not what I could do for myself or what I could do for others. That was frustrating. But what was even more frustrating was that people didn't have any hesitation to let me know that no, your weight's a bigger problem than whether or not you're able to afford something. That hurt, and that forced me to put a lot of my mental energy on how can I be healthier and get my weight under control. So of course, having gone through the educational process and knowing that there's a way to do things, I looked into how would I lose the weight, and obviously eat less, move more. This is the way you lose weight. Everybody knows it. Wasn't that difficult to find that answer. I tried to apply it. I really felt that this was a no-brainer. I can be successful in my career and I can be successful in managing this weight issue. The problem was that unlike school, unlike work, trying to follow the the supposedly proven path for weight loss only led to frustration because it wasn't working. Weeks of eating healthy, weeks of running around and playing and trying to be active, not only with my daughter, but doing activities outside of the home and just trying to do things to make sure that I wasn't sitting still all the time, would result in maybe I'd lose 10 pounds. But as soon as there was a family event, any kind of holiday situation at work where there was cake on offer, or I could put back on 5 pounds in a few days. And it was really frustrating that one event could cause such quick weight gain, and it took weeks to take it off. The frustration over gaining and losing the same 5 to 10 pounds over and over really put me in the position where I had to take a decision. And what I decided to do was ignore what people had to say because that wasn't helping me, like, mentally. It was just making me frustrated. And it wasn't helping me to enjoy the time that I was playing with my daughter. It wasn't helping me to enjoy my life. I decided to accept that maybe this was the weight that I was going to weigh, but then how would I have fun in my life? And so, not listening to what they had to say and just doing the things that made me happy became the focus for me. The problem was that by the time I came to that realization, I had lived years of physical pain. So from about the age of 23, I had knee issues. I had my daughter in my 30s. So I had lived 10 plus years already of knee pain, elbow pain, back pain, like the pain just started to come everywhere. So although I was no longer worrying about people seeing me as overweight. The new problem was the pains that I was living meant that when I tried to play with my daughter and when I tried to do the activities that I wanted to do, I didn't feel great. I was in a little bit of a dilemma here because all of these negatives were helping me to see that I needed to have fun now, right? I lived 10 years delaying the fun, thinking I'm going to have it later on in life. And then now here we are later on in life, and my fun is being interrupted by people commenting and focusing on my weight and by my body not behaving properly and giving me pain every time I try to do fun things. And the dilemma was, if I let the people and the pain stop me from doing what I think is fun, then not only was putting off the fun for 10 years a mistake, but then I'm saying I'm not going to have any fun ever going forward. What I ended up doing was a combination of A, accepting this is the body you have, Violet, and then B, figuring out how do I do fun things in this body while managing the pain. And the outcome that I came to was this. I would do fun activities and then the next 2 or 3 days recover from whatever fun activity that I did. So for example, I always wanted to learn to ski. And I learned to ski in my mid-20s. And after my daughter was old enough, I took her skiing every Saturday, and then I had Sunday and Monday to recover, and the rest of my work week was fine. I want to point out that none of my friends ever wanted to go skiing with me. So even when I learned to ski, I'm the only black lady on the ski hill because we don't do that. And so one of the struggles that I had from a very early age is that the things that I found interesting, the people in my life didn't find interesting. The other thing that I love to do is longboarding, and I picked that up when I was in my 30s. Again, all the people in my family and all of my friends think that, oh, you're crazy. Why are you doing that at this age? So now my age is the limiting factor. So I'm the old lady out on the longboard, and nobody else wants to come do these things with me. Because the people in my life didn't want to do the things that I wanted to do, I did them on my own. And now I had to apply the same idea for this situation. Now I'm the overweight lady doing these activities that black people or old people don't do. So I've got triple whammy now that I needed to overcome. And I decided to do it anyway. I decided to do the thing that would make me happy. I wish I could say that was the end of my struggles, but it wasn't, because these aches and pains that I was living, you have the basic information that you need to eat healthy and improve your health. What you're missing is the mindset and support to eat healthy every day. In the Wellness Squad, you're going to learn how I've been able to stay keto since April 2018, solve my joint pain, and I lost 70 pounds in 5 months and kept it off. We go deep in our meetings talking about real world solutions to everyday problems because we know how hard it is to eat healthy in a world that's constantly pushing cake. Go to wellnesssquad.org to get started. These aches and pains that I was living kept getting worse and worse and worse until finally I woke up one morning. My hip just didn't want to cooperate with me anymore. And now I was barely able to walk. And the worst moment that I ever lived was the winter where my hip hurt and I couldn't go snowboarding or skiing with the family. Too much pain, couldn't do it. And that moment where I realized I'm not buying a season pass this year because I cannot go, pushed me to really look at what's happening to my body. Why can I not be healthy? Why am I constantly in pain? And I had to really stop and evaluate what's happening. I wanted to be healthy. I wanted to be pain-free, and I wasn't. And I realized that what I had been doing was putting a band-aid on the problem by trading some fun for days of recovery. But that wasn't the answer. I needed a real solution. And that meant I had to look for a real answer. So I needed to figure out what the real problem was. And so here's the thing, all this time, I'd been living my life following this idea that weight was calories in, calories out, and health was about eating 3 servings of fruits and 3 servings of vegetables, and you need to have a healthy starch, and you need to, and I never questioned any of this information. And when my body started to show me that, Violet, this is the end of the road, you're not walking anymore, I had no choice now but to look and see, is this really the end of the road? And what I found was something really weird. It turned out that I had inflammation in my hip. It turned out that inflammation in the hip was caused by inflammatory things that you eat. And there were 2 main inflammatory things that I could have been eating: sugar and poor quality oils. I was having both. What I learned was that if I wanted to feel better, I had to take these out of my life. Now, the problem was, to get these 2 simple things out of my life meant reducing dramatically the amount of vegetables, fruits, grains that I was, nuts, any vegetation that I was eating had to be reduced greatly. And what was even scarier was it meant that I needed to start eating more meats with their accompanying fat. This was everything that I had been taught would cause weight gain and potentially a heart attack. And now the solution was to do this. Was it pure desperation that got me to try this? Of course not. I did a lot more research and a lot more research and a lot more research. I was researching this for about 2 months before I finally said, okay, it looks like this is really the answer. What I found was a lot of information that suggested that the popular ideas that we have about food and how we should feed ourselves for health are minimally misguided, but maximally blatant lies that are pushed by food companies to get us to eat food so that they can profit. And learning that information for the first time, I looked at what I was eating and decided I'm actually going to cut my carbohydrate intake down to 20 grams of carbs or less, which was the advice given in the keto community that I was trying to follow. I wasn't successful. I definitely ate more than 20 grams of carbs, but I got it down low enough that I went through withdrawal. I got it down low enough that I was able to, over the course of several months, about 3, eliminate the pain from my hip. And once again, I'm the lady doing the thing that nobody else does. Once again, I'm the lady being criticized for the way that I eat. Once again, I'm the lady that everyone is predicted is going to gain weight, have a heart attack, or both. But here's a weird thing. I wasn't looking for weight loss. I was looking for pain relief. And I was fully aware that any medication that the doctors were offering me, one of the number 1 side effects was weight gain. So in my mind, I could take a medication that's going to cause me to gain weight, or I could eat food that might cause me to gain weight. To me, I didn't see the difference, with the exception of what I was learning on the diet side was that they were saying it's not just going to make the pain go away, it's going to heal the problem. And really, what I wanted was to heal the problem. And so when I got my results and my pain subsided, I did something that I had never done in my history of eating. I kept eating the diet past the point of getting my results. I stayed eating keto. And why did I do that? Because these foods allowed me to live pain-free. And 2 to 3 months later, my joint pains were gone. I had accomplished the goal of managing my pain. And not just managing my pain, I mean, my joints feel good. I was still a pain in the ass to go out to eat with. Going out to restaurants with me means that I'm scrutinizing the menu and making the waiter make adjustments, and everybody finds that so uncomfortable. I don't care. And 5 months after I started eating this keto diet, the other thing that happened was I ended up being 10 pounds under the goal weight that I had had for myself every time I ever tried to diet. So being my annoying, do what makes me happy, act like nobody else self led to me being in the best health I've ever been in. We fail because we spend so much time doing what's expected, whether it's related to school, work, vacation like this and eat like that, save this much now so that you can retire like this, that we actually don't know what true success looks like because we've never tried to be successful in the way that would make us as an individual happy. And we only really figure out what success really looks like, really feels like, when we break away from the pack and do what feels right. We all know people who their lives seem to have improved after something devastating happened, right? They get divorced, or they overcome some kind of illness, or they lose their job, and all of a sudden they're doing the thing they always wanted to do. The same way that living that horrible hip pain put me in the position where I actually, for the first time ever, fed my body properly so that it could give me back in return health and a pain-free existence. Pain that I had lived with for 23 plus years. Gone. So when people ask me, oh, but don't you miss eating chocolate? Oh, don't you miss eating cake? Or don't you miss going out to dinner and not having to think about what's on the menu? I'm so quick to say no, I don't miss it. Because along with all of those things that you're talking to me about came pain, came weight. I was not aware that I was failing. I was failing my body. I was failing my daughter because she had to interact with the mummy that couldn't play with her properly, that couldn't do the things that I can do with her today. And it's sad because I missed a lot of years of being able to run around more than I was able to. Like now I can do things, and she's older now. We still do things, but it's not the same. I would have loved when she was 2 years old to be able to be on the floor crawling around and not have felt that negative that I was feeling that meant that I was only down there for 5-10 minutes and I had to get up because it was too much. I look back on these things and I was failing my clients because when you don't feel good, you're not able to give the best of yourself to the people you're trying to help as when you do feel good. We fail because we aren't really being true to ourselves. And in order to succeed, we need to really listen to ourselves and get to the root of the problem. All those years that I thought my problem was weight, when in fact, the problem was that I was eating inflammatory foods and I wasn't listening to my body because it was trying to tell me to stop. Pain is your body's way of speaking to you. Extra weight is your body's way of speaking to you. Changes in your stool, changes in your energy levels, changes in your skin. These are all the ways that your body is trying to speak to you. Are you listening? I want you to listen. So watch this video here where I go over why what you eat matters so much. I'll talk to you again next week. If you're still listening, one of the hardest things that I had to do was accept that fun and food, if I put them together, my body screams at me. I want you to consider if maybe your body is screaming at you, but you keep trying to force it to accept to eat for fun. Do better than me.